Studio lighting. In this video, we are going to see about studio lighting. Lighting is the basic need of cinematography. Learning the nuances of controlling source and shadow in order to create a mood and a feeling will advance the ultimate goal as filmmakers to tell a good story with the tools and the hardware used in the industry. Then, user will work through the aesthetic decisions every cinematographer must make, but lighting is just part of the story. The heart of cinematography is composition, camera placement, camera angles, camera movement, and lens choice, which together with the lighting style will give films their unique life. Specifically, user will learn the ARRI SR2, the Sony EX1 HD camera, essential lighting and grip equipment, color film stocks, hard light versus soft light, location shooting, color temperature and fluorescent lights, exterior lighting and control of natural light. Covering a scene and continuity from a cinematographer's point of view. Composition, camera, and actor choreography. In each class, user will look at selected scenes from popular films and recreate them using the elements noted above, and they will shoot many exercises with both the film and the HD cameras. Key and filler ratios. In this video, we are going to see about key and filler ratios. Key to fill ratio is a film lighting term which often baffles even very able cinematographers. It basically describes how much shadows your lights cause on your subjects or your contrast ratio. The key light is your main source of light, but using just this one light will cause shadows in the unlit areas. Therefore, you need a second light, a fill light, to fill in these shadows. A fill light will also soften the harsh effect of the key light. The handheld incident light meter is the best way to measure a lighting ratio, but these days those things are few and far between. Lighting ratios. Lighting ratios are simply the difference in output between your key light and your fill light. These two lights are the main players in providing user photo with the shadow and depth required to make it look dynamic and interesting. Just remember that good lighting is about good shadows. Many people get frustrated with lighting when they start trying to work with 3 or 4 lights all at once. The best way is to set up each light individually. A factor of 2 is equal to 1 stop of exposure, so a 2:1 ratio would mean that there is 1 stop difference between the lights. A 3:1 ratio would be a stop and a half difference, and 4:1 would be a 2 stop difference. To work out the ratio 8:1, just divide 8 by 2, you get 4, which means 4 stops of difference in exposure. To work out the ratio of a shot with 2 stops of exposure difference, just multiply 2 by 2, you get 4:1. Understanding ratios allows user to translate an image in their head to the final shot. Ratios are the foundation on which creative lighting is built. Exteriors. In this video, we are going to see about exteriors. Outdoor cinematography is a challenge because the camera does not adjust for contrast as smoothly as the human eye. Consider the subtle adjustment of your eye makes while watching a waterfall and noticing the fish in the swirling shadows. The problems of contrast simply don't exist for humans. That is why many videographers don't even place their eye to the viewfinder when putting together outdoor cinematography. Amateurs don't notice contrast problems, but professionals do. Pros in outdoor videography always compose and light for the camera's eye. Lighting guides explain technical issues, and that is the easy part. Outdoor videography challenges that range from sunlight drilling down on a subject to tinted rays bouncing off a painted wall are largely solved with white balance controls and a light metering system, but real skill is in shooting how to see like a camera. Remember that the greatest editing software can't compensate for compositions ruined by poorly conceived contrast ranges. The way to navigate this landmine is to practice 4 steps: scout big, reframe for contrast, light right, and be prepared. Lighting the great outdoors means isolating its immensity by time and space. You can do this only by scouting your location and bring your camera, find and frame your setups, and travel close to the shoot date. Understand the nature of light sources. That means timing the movement of the sun and shadows, finding electrical plugs, or measuring football stadium halogens. Your confidence from the scout will motivate your crew. Even more, it will reassure the talent and client that your shots will look their best. Outdoor videography lighting is akin to camping, and you must approach it with the same patience and respect. Scouting gives you an instant read on what is happening with seasonal sun angles in particular. At certain times of year, sun is moving very quickly from day to day. You can determine backup plans, workable sheltered areas, exterior elements critical for lighting that tricks the viewer, and contrast ranges ahead of time. Tomorrow the sun may or may not shine, so always find electrical sources for lights and load limits, how much extension cord you need, and how many battery powered lights you should bring as main or backup sources. Bear in mind that while professional outdoor videography lighting requires equipment, at the heart of it are the electricians, gaffers, and grips who are experienced in outdoor light. Practicing teaches you to watch that dropping sun and tree shadow that is creeping onto the scrim or reflector. Workarounds for unforeseeable problems on location, such as audio noise off-screen in a scene that has perfect light, might mean changing location, but consider the time required for breaking up and setting up again. By scouting, you know beforehand whether to shoot the scene wide and dub in dialogue later, or to drop dialogue altogether. Day for night. In this video, we are going to see about day for night. Making day resemble night on your screen means tinting the overall images blue, then adding white light, adjusting contrast and brightness to seal the trick. Shooting day for night, of course, means recording night scenes in daylight. It is done all the time because casts and crews tend to be less grumpy in the afternoon than at midnight, and because lighting a large night exterior takes a truck full of lights, a honking big generator, and more bugs than you have for your whole show. In the halcyon days of black and white movies, day for night was easy because a red filter on the lens pumped up the contrast and recorded blue skies as jet black. Underexpose half a stop and you were in business. It's a bit trickier in color, but still simple enough so that you can create very convincing night effects. Camcorders have ample sensitivity for shooting at night on urban streets, and the real-world light visible in the shots deliver an atmosphere you can't duplicate without them. So, if you have enough ambient light to shoot night for night, you may want to cajole your cast and crew into staying up late. This will dust their shoulders with light and throw their faces into shadow. To make those faces visible, use reflectors as key and fill lights. Balance your lights so that the backlight, that is the sun, is brightest, the key light is hot enough to show facial details, and the fill light is faint or even omitted to leave deep shadows on the fill side. Windows filters. In this video, we are going to see about Windows filters. Windows filters are nothing but ND Gallatin filters. ND means neutral density. It adds no color to the image. In some interior shooting, there might be a huge difference between window and subject. Because of window facing the sun, that will affect the exposure drastically. At these situations, we use ND gelatin filters as a window filter to control the exposure. Various amounts of density is available for the ND gelatin filters. Gelatin filter were and are for the most part made of gelatin and as such are very fragile and next to impossible to clean because they are so soft and absorbent, a reason why some are glass mounted. Gelatin filters will fade with time and should be replaced occasionally and stored in their original packaging. Accuracy in colored glass is very expensive and difficult to control, therefore, it is one of the primary reasons for the gelatin filter. Filter placement was common knowledge among view camera users a year ago. Internal filtering is the best placement, rear is second, and frontal is third choice. This is for optical reasons, but most viewed it as economical. Some lenses, especially wide angles, have glass and mounts that protrude so far back within the camera that adding anything back there may interfere with the camera operation. This includes a thin glass mount filter or even the 2 mm threaded bit for the filter itself. One of the reasons some SLRs had a mirror lockup features. Placing the filter within the lens while better is more difficult and may present cleanliness issues if one cannot get to the glass that the filter slot exposed to the environment. Spot meter. In this video, we are going to see about spot meter. Spot metering, that is pink area below. Not all cameras have a spot meter. It is mainly reserved for the more professional cameras as the manufacturers know that it would not be used on many occasions by most people. The metering is heavily weighted to the center or pre-selected focusing point, covering just 3.8% of the viewfinder area on average. With cameras such as the Canon EOS 1D MKII, you are able to take a number of spot readings up to 8 from one scene and let the camera take an average reading and set the exposure accordingly. Zoom into the part of the scene you wish to meter from, press the shutter release lightly to get a reading, hit exposure lock, zoom back out, recompose, focus and shoot. With spot metering, the camera will only measure a very small area of the scene between 1 to 5% of the viewfinder area. This will typically be the very center of the scene, but some cameras allow the user to select a different off-center point or to recompose by moving the camera after metering. A few models including the Olympus OM4, Canon T90 and in the digital world the Olympus C5050Z support a multi-spot mode which allows multiple spot meter readings to be taken off a scene that are averaged. Spot metering is very accurate and is not influenced by other areas in the frame. It is commonly used to shoot very high contrast scenes. Spot metering is a method upon which the zone system depends. Another example of spot metering usage would be when photographing the moon. Due to the very dark nature of the scene, other metering methods tend to overexpose the moon. Spot metering will allow for more detail to be brought out in the moon while underexposing the rest of the scene. More commonly, spot metering is used in theater photography where the brightly lit actors stand before a dark or even black curtain or scrim. Spot metering only considers the actors in this case while ignoring the overall darkness of the scene. Color temperature meters. In this video, we are going to see about color temperature meters. Color temperature meter is used to measure the color temperature of a particular light. White light is commonly described by its color temperature. Measuring the hue of white light started in the late 1800s when the British physicist William Kelvin heated a block of carbon. The block of carbon changed color as it heated up, going from a dim red through various shades of yellow all the way up to a bright bluish white at its highest temperature. The measurement scale for color temperatures, which was named after Kelvin as a result of his hard work, was based on centigrade degrees. However, the Kelvin scale starts at absolute zero, which is minus 273 degrees Celsius. You can get the equivalent centigrade temperature compared to the visible colors of a heated black body by subtracting 273 from the Kelvin color temperature. The lower numbers equal to warmer or red or yellow light, and the higher numbers equal to cool or blue light. You can manually set your camera to a specific Kelvin depending on the conditions you are shooting in. Color temperature measurement basics. In this video, we are going to see about color temperature measurement basics. Seconic color meter. Today, color temperature can be measured simply using a handheld meter such as a Seconic C500R meter shown in figure, where a reading can be taken in seconds with a press of a button. When the button is pressed, readings are taken from a group of sensors, blue, green, and one of two red light sensors behind the shield, and processed through algorithms to produce a Kelvin temperature reading that can be used for photography, verification, or simple reference purposes. It must be noted that when using a handheld meter such as a Seconic C500R, it must be held closely to the light source or in the most neutral, that is average color, such as in the center of a room or space, in order to get an accurate reading of the color temperature of the light source and not the surrounding environment. For instance, if the light is held close to a red wall, the red reflection from the wall will skew the reading to the red end of the scale. If held next to a white object or wall, the reading will be skewed higher. These skewed readings are illustrated in the skewed color readings figure at right. Color temperature and purpose. Color temperature in a room or space can have a dramatic effect on the people that use that lighting to perform tasks. For example, rooms that are used for tasks such as reading can benefit by incorporating lighting on the cooler end of a scale. Many studies have been done on classroom and work settings where reading improves when done under lighting near 5500 Kelvin, day white 5500 to 6000 Kelvin. C Smart's CS007 effects on school children with lighting color temperature study for additional information regarding the effect of color temperature in a school classroom. Warehouses also typically benefit from brighter white lighting, helping to see objects better and easier. Key tone pegging. In this video, we are going to see about key tone pegging. When users shoot whole series of shots, it's important to peg the key tones that are to decide which tones you want to render optimally and to expose them consistently at the same level. In most films, skin tones are the key ones and you try to expose them identically from shot to shot, which is set in a particular time. In other words, ketone pegging can be described as lighting continuity with correct spectral values for all the shots within a scene.